Hello, William. Welcome back. Right, sorry about that. The last 30 seconds of that recording probably won't make much sense, but essentially, I think I unplugged my headphones and then I replugged them back in, but my computer wasn't recognising them as plugged in, so I was basically hearing the audio coming from my laptop speaker rather than my actual headphones. But needless to say, we should be fine now, and the audio should be coming out my headphones. So everything should be fine. With that in mind, let's unpause the game and start building up the actual orca exhibit. Tank. We're going to need a filter, of course, which we can plonk down. Let's just go with here. Yeah, still no one's gone to my restaurant. I'm wondering if this restaurant might have been a mistake. I don't know, but we'll find out in a couple of in-game months. Right. Yeah, orcas are expensive. And the only reason I'm really building them is because I have to build an exhibit with orcas to satisfy the orca show requirement. Which I really, really don't want, but I didn't want to build that aquatic restroom either, and yet here we are. And the tank needs to be a bit deeper. Are you serious? How deep does this tank need to be? Right, that's fine. With suitability at 94, that's fine. Right. Yeah, guess happiness is 93, but I don't really care anymore. As long as it's above 85, that's fine. Right. Yeah, we're going to need another marine specialist. And they can look after the orcas and the orca show when we finally get that running. Save the game. Yep. Ooh, that tank's looking very dirty, so we're going to need a filter on that. And then actually put in a bit more path over here. So guests can actually walk around the filter and it doesn't just block up the path straight away. I don't think there's any other exhibits that we don't have tank filters for that do need them. Just check straight away. We've got one for the orcas, the swordfish, the manta ray, the mako shark, the jellyfish, yep, dolphin, yep, and the beluga. Yeah, that's everything. So, yeah, we've done everything. The only thing is that we now need $750 profit for orca shows. Which we can build the show tank over here. Like over here. So yeah, this bit of path is actually going to be a bit unnecessary. Okay, we've got some guests in the water, that's no big deal, we'll just move them out of the tank. So yeah, the show tank is actually pretty big now, it's plenty big enough. Right, we're going to need... Right, that's fine. then we're going to need the... well, actually, probably want to level this terrain up. And then put down... I don't know if there's really much difference between regular grandstands and fancy grandstands, but we'll go with fancy ones because they're the same price anyway. I'm going to need to make that into... that's 500. Yeah, we'll just go with sand. Okay, and path, and I'm actually going to need more money because I've run out of money and I need to make the show tank wall bigger. I've made this show tank way too big, and unfortunately it's going to cost me like sort of like $10,000 to raise that up to be the same height. It would actually be cheaper to just lower the base of the orca tank to the same height as the orca tank, as the show tank. That would be cheaper to do, and it would actually be more aesthetically pleasing. Because otherwise I'm going to have this orca tank being massively high up. But, as I said, I don't have enough money. Also, hopefully that show tank is actually deep enough anyway. Coming up for the end of year 1. Yeah, the Marine Specialist can be assigned to the show tank even though there's actually no show going on at the moment. Nobody's going to this restaurant, which I find really weird. I'm very, very tempted to actually just sell this. Yeah, I'm gonna sell this off. Right, now we can have the orca show running. Move the entrance over to there. Right, so for the orca show we'll charge $7 for it. It'll be run infrequently. And we can have yeah, just get a couple of tricks going. That'll do. So that's 42 potential guest bonus happiness for $7. That should be fine. Probably want to get that running soon-ish. Manta Ray 2 has given birth, that's good. Right, these tigers need to sell off. It's Tiger 3 and Tiger 4. Still the dolphins are complaining about not having a mate, which I'm now thinking is some kind of weird bug, but oh well. It doesn't seem to affect me at all. Not enough shelters in the exhibit. Oh wow, we've actually got 4 baby manta rays. A female, a male, a female, a female. Okay. The swordfish are fine. Yeah, okay. So, hopefully people actually do go over to this show. Even though it's sort of on the outskirts of the zoo. put a bit of brick wall around there anyway. Yeah, people are flocking over to see this show, but it should still be going by the time they actually get there. Because I did make it sufficient. I did make it reasonably long. And also, hopefully, it doesn't affect the guest happiness too badly. Right, yeah, so people are starting to arrive to the show. They won't catch all of it, but they should still get reasonable profit and actually, yeah, there's a lot of guests coming over. That's the thing about shows, is that the guests just literally flock over. It's like they just ignore what they were doing, drop everything, and then go over to the show. This is going to sell out. This is actually going to make a lot of money. But I hope it doesn't affect the guest happiness too badly. Right, we've got a very ill jellyfish. Where is the marine specialist that looks after this exhibit? He's over here. You gonna heal the animal, or have you just done that? No, you just done that, okay. So... Right, the show is actually selling out nicely. Unfortunately, I've had to pay quite a lot in upkeep, but I reckon after a few months that should make the required $750 profit. I don't know why these guys are going round the back. Unless they don't want to watch the show, but wow, guess happiness actually 94, 93. Yeah, we're still selling more tickets for the show. I did read that apparently once guests have gone to a show, they basically leave the show, or leave the zoo, so that could affect guest happiness as well, because we could get a guest come into the zoo, and then there's a show on, they go to the show, which actually does take quite a while because you've got to get from there to there, and then they basically just leave the zoo without actually doing anything, so I'm pretty sure that the guest AI for aquatic shows is very bugged in this game. But we're getting a lot of cheering and clapping, so this show must be doing quite well. It must actually be doing, you know, it must be pretty good according to the guests. Yeah, if it weren't for the upkeep, we actually are basically there anyway. I reckon one more show should actually be enough, and if it doesn't affect the guest happiness that badly, then I reckon just leave it at infrequent and we should be okay. I think frequent shows is too much in this game. I think if you're going to have a show, have it at infrequent, because you'll still make money, but it won't hurt the guest happiness too badly. If you have it as frequent, it's like really common, and it doesn't give the guests time to really do anything else, and I think the animals become a bit unhappy because they're constantly doing shows. Seeing that, Zoo Tycoon seems to take place in an alternate universe where animals don't seem to mind performing shows. So these orcas are perfectly content to just entertain themselves for the guests. And in actuality, he's actually sort of waving to the crowd in his tank anyway, which is quite interesting. Guest happiness did actually drop to 91. Now got quite a lot of hungry guests. Now would be a good time to probably have a restaurant here or here. I don't know. I feel like if I built it, then it might actually cause problems for me. So the show has basically just only just ended. The guests are basically still leaving, and yet there's a new show going on. This is with infrequent shows as well. That just goes to show how ridiculously common these shows are. Literally, I think as soon as the guest happiness reaches, or rather, as soon as we hit the $750 profit, I'm just going to bulldoze all of this, and you know, it'll be like we don't have a show. So the sooner I hit the required $750 profit for orca shows, the better, because then it won't hurt the guest happiness too badly. Hopefully. Actually, it sounds like people are using the restroom, which I find a bit weird. Why are people using it now? I don't know. But anyway, people are going over to the show. Hopefully, I can get the $750 with this show, and then after that I can just get rid of all this. Because even though it probably does actually make a profit, the hit to the guest happiness is quite severe. Although it only needs to be 85 guest happiness. So, I don't know. See how it goes. But at the same time, if the guests just flock over to the show, they're not doing anything else, so, ooh. I forgot to build the filter. Oops. Right, well, we're going to need a filter, obviously, then. I like how as soon as you build the filter, the tank becomes clean. That's very convenient. I'm going to need to pause the game and rebuild this brick wall. Just to make sure that the guests can actually get through. So we've still actually got like 11 or 10.5 months left of the scenario. We have actually hit the requirement. So I think, I could be wrong on this, but I think that once this show ends, I can actually just get rid of this. Although actually, the guest happiness hasn't actually dropped much, if at all. So I could actually just keep it going. And also, I've just realised I've got a 4x4 square there, so I'm going to build a turtle fountain. Because it wasn't actually being used, so... Over here, I could build another restaurant, I don't know. I think I'm actually going to build a duck pond. And... elephant fountain. And yeah, just build some scenery around here. Right, that looks really good. So, we have actually completed all the objectives. Guess how much is only 90 though, so I think I'm actually going to get rid of the... just get rid of this show, to be honest, because I don't like the idea of the guests basically just hanging around here. I just want the guests to actually do other things in the zoo besides hang out round here constantly, either going to or from shows. Right, so now I've got a load of guests that are sort of a bit lost and they don't actually have any... You know, it's like they're sort of not... They're not really doing anything. So it looks a bit silly, but I can actually just move all these guests. So I actually need to spend quite a bit of money levelling up all that terrain, which is quite expensive. But, oh well. We can afford it. Yeah, guest happiness is 89. Yeah, we have actually still met the objective, even though we don't have a orca show. It's still saying that we've got a total profit of 750 for the orca show. So we have actually completed all the objectives. Just going to save the game again. So I've got a save from just before deleting the show, and then I've got a save just now with a slightly different name. You know, it's literally just save the zoo and save the zoo 2. Before and after I deleted the show, so if it all goes completely wrong, then I can just reload the save from before I deleted the show. Right. Still getting guests not actually on the path. I think that's everybody. Right, so the guest happiness is only 89. Yes, we're getting quite a lot of hungry guests, but as long as the guest happiness stays above 85, then we're fine. And I can't imagine it's going to drop that much, especially now that we've just got rid of that show tank. So I think we basically have 10 months left, and I think we've basically won the scenario. So I think we basically just sit around and wait for this scenario to end. I don't think there's really much left to do. I mean, obviously I could build like another exhibit. It's not necessary, but I could do. Right, we've got 4, well, guests are becoming less hungry, but they're also getting like hunger or thirsty and toilet requirements, but that's what the restaurants are there for. And also, with only 9 exhibits, it's not a very big zoo. You know, it's quite compact. I've tried to keep everything sort of close together. So the zoo does actually end up looking basically like every other zoo I've ever built, but that's just the way that this game works. You kind of just end up with a zoo that looks, like I say, like every other zoo you've ever made. The only difference being really where everything is and what exhibits you have. But like I said, it's not a very big zoo. We only have 9 exhibits. But everything's sort of compact and guests don't have that far to travel to get to and from places. But obviously this zoo looks a lot better than the zoo that we inherited right at the start of the scenario. You probably can play in such a way that you start with that zoo and then just like turn it around. But I think it's probably highly recommended that you basically just do what I did and just destroy it all. Because then you can position things how you want them, and you know, those exhibits were probably too small anyway, and or some of them might have even been too big. And you know, the exhibits were absolutely filthy, and it's probably actually going to be like more expensive and more costly in the long run to try and fix everything rather than just starting from scratch. I know the guest happiness is only needing to be at least 85, but it would I'd feel a lot more comfortable if it were like 93, 94. But as I say, it's not, you know, urgent that the guest happiness is like 93. It's just my own sort of paranoia and sense of satisfaction. I'd feel a lot happier if it were 93 than 90. 85 is quite a low requirement, to be fair. I mean, with the admission price being 49, we're not going to get that many guests coming into the zoo. We're getting about 40 a month. To be quite honest, actually, I don't know how much of a difference it's making, but I do know that the rest room actually lowers guest happiness, because I think guests sort of look at it and then they become a bit unhappy. Like, by how much I don't know, but it will be affecting guest happiness, even, you know, even if it's only like 1 point, it does actually affect it negatively. Also, speaking of guest happiness being affected negatively, the compost building is making only 173 a month, but obviously that, you know, it doesn't have any upkeep, so it's actually paid for itself almost twice over. So, you know, every little helps. Getting a lot of hungry guests. I'm thinking, do I need another restaurant? But then when I built that rainforest restaurant earlier, nobody was using it, so I don't know. It's a weird one, actually. I'm gonna build a restaurant over here, and if people use it, great. If nobody uses it, then, you know, at least I tried. I think I'll build a restaurant rather than a rainforest restaurant. Right, let's build a restaurant. Hopefully people will actually use this. I mean, we've got some hungry guests, so in theory they should do, but... Right, we've got our first customer. Unfortunately, we've had to pay for the upkeep because I built it right near the end of the month, but oh well. Save the game once again. And we've got a baby orca. That's nice. It has occurred to me that I might end up having to build an extra exhibit anyway, just in case Because if that polar bear dies of old age or something, then we're not going to have 9 full exhibits. So it might actually be worthwhile to build an extra exhibit anyway, just as a sort of insurance measure. And with that in mind, I don't know what I want to build. Could go with like hammerhead sharks maybe. They're probably quite popular with the guests. And it also actually encourages guests to come over here. Although obviously there is a restaurant, a Japanese garden, quite a bit of scenery over here, and some orcas, so there should be sufficient reason for guests to come over here anyway. But yeah, let's build a hammerhead exhibit. Actually, that was probably not necessary. Yeah. We'll probably get away with just something like this. That Japanese garden sounds like it's really popular, which it is. Right, the restaurant has almost made a profit. Right, we're going to need, yeah, hammerhead sharks. That's 10 by 8. 10 by 10 should be big enough. So, hammerhead tank. Yeah, we only actually need 2 hammerheads anyway, so that's perfectly fine. Right, they want seagrass and rocks, obviously. And handily, seagrass is extremely cheap. Well, not extremely, but it is cheap. And then the marine specialist needs to be assigned to the hammerheads, and then that's fine. It's literally just an insurance measure, just in case, you know, one of my animals, like the polar bear, dies, and I can't, you know, and then I end up with an empty exhibit. Because I can't adopt polar bears, I can only adopt marine animals in this game, or this scenario. But by doing this, I basically guarantee that I'm going to have at least 9 exhibits. And as you can see, I've completed all the objectives. Right, that restaurant's now making a profit. The guest happiness has actually increased to 91, so I think, in all honesty, we've probably actually won the scenario. There's still 8 months left. Change that up to low hedge fencing instead of brick wall. And we can put in, whoops. Yeah, it's actually slightly too much over there. I'm thinking, I have a lot of things where it's like this. I could actually build, I think I'm actually just going to build a tuna exhibit anyway. Why not? Doesn't, like, tuna exhibits don't need to be very big, and I've got the money, so... Right, it's saying 6 months left, but in actuality it's 8 months. The game is a bit bugged in this. It seems to happen every scenario. Or I don't know if it's like a Marine Mania thing or not, I don't know, but... Right, this is going to be tuna. can't imagine this is going to require much care and attention on the part of my maintenance worker? Marine specialist. Live in very large groups, yeah, so... Is 4 enough? 4 tuna, is that enough? No, they want more, actually. And they also want sargassum and rocks. And that's apparently enough rocks for now. Right, so 6 tuna is enough. Guess happiness is now 92. We can make this guy assigned to 3 exhibits. That should be fine. It's not like he's got far to travel, to be honest, either. And we're also going to need a filter for this exhibit. There we go. That should be fine. Guest happiness is now 93. We actually only needed a suitability rating of 90 for 9 exhibits rather than all exhibits, but exhibit suitability of 90 is a pretty low requirement anyway. You know, I mean, I'm not building these exhibits optimally. You know, I could increase the exhibit suitability of these exhibits by micromanaging them, you know, building them exactly big enough and having you know, using like small rocks instead of just going with the large rocks. But considering I'm just building them up very quickly, I think it's fine. Right, just sell off those jellyfish, because the exhibit wasn't big enough. Sharks are fine. Oh, the manta ray are now complaining that the exhibit is not big enough. So, sell off number 5 and number 6, that's fine. And the exhibit is still not big enough. Right. Actually, probably would have been smart to keep 3 and 4 and then sell 1 and 2. There you go. Right, how's the swordfish? Not big enough. Right, so sell off that one. The orca are fine. The hammerheads are fine. They've already mated and bred. The tuna are fine. So I think... yeah, everything's fine there. Guest happiness is 93. You can see how the show was affecting the guest happiness though, because with the show we were getting like 89 guest happiness, and yet by getting rid of the show and replacing it with a hammerhead exhibit, a tuna exhibit, a restaurant, and a bit of scenery over here, the guest happiness has increased to 93. And also, profits probably actually increased, because instead of guests just spending all their money at the show and then leaving the zoo, they're actually going to the restaurant and the animal houses, and you know, so we're making more money from donations and concessions and things like that. Right, we still have about 7 months left of the scenario, but there's not really much to do now. We've kind of done everything. We've completed all the objectives and basically won the scenario. So I'm going to save the game. Guest happiness just dropped to 92, that's no big deal. We don't have any problematic guests, we've got 419 guests in the zoo. 39 zoo benefactors, that's really, really good. pretty sure I've got zoo tank filters on all of these exhibits. Yeah, I do. Might need another maintenance worker though, because I've only got 2 right now. And I don't know if these filters are okay. The newer ones should be fine, it's the older ones I'm worried about. But they actually look fine, so these maintenance workers are doing their job well. Admittedly, they do have the maximum amount of training, which means that they can repair filters better, and they also actually repair fences better, so it's a rare occurrence where maintenance worker training 3 is actually used, because normally we don't actually need it, but when we've got this many filters and exhibit fencing, then we actually do need it. It's also very handy that that objective stays completed even though we don't have an orca show. It seems like the game is basically just saying, like, well, you did have an orca show, you did make $750, the fact that you no longer have an orca show is irrelevant. Because if I had to keep the orca show, that would be problematic for me, because I really don't like having animal shows. So my advice is basically build the orca show as quickly as possible, so that you can get rid of it as soon as possible, and then it doesn't affect the guest happiness too badly. You've got long enough left in the scenario to fix the deficit caused by the orca show negatively impacting the guest happiness. Or you might be really lucky in that your orca show doesn't affect the guest happiness too badly, and then you don't need to get rid of it. But for me, obviously, it did negatively impact the guest happiness. Also, obviously, try and get guest happiness to 95 if you can, and that way you will have the extra $25,000, which for me came in extremely useful. We've got an ill manta ray female baby. These manta ray must have only just bred because I sold all these off, so now I've got 4 baby manta rays as well. Where is the... Yeah, I was going to say, where's the manta ray specialist? He's currently healing the animal, which is good. Yeah, we've still got like 6.5 months left of this scenario, and I don't exactly have much to say or much to do in this particular scenario. I'm half tempted to just end the video here because I can't imagine that anything's going to happen in these 6.5 months that mean that we're going to fail the scenario. And to be quite honest, I can't imagine that I'm going to really do much. Like, I'm not going to build any more exhibits. It's basically just going to be me sort of sat around talking, trying to fill the dead air, to be honest. Because it's just going to be like sort of me constantly monitoring the zoo, making sure that like guest happiness is fine, making sure that these objectives are fine. I'm not going to build another exhibit because I don't need to. I mean, I suppose if anything does happen, then I will record it, but I can't imagine that anything will happen in the next 6.5 months. One thing I will do, though, that probably won't make much of a difference, is I'm going to build low hedge fencing just around this carousel, just to make it look a bit nicer. And also, actually, one thing I will do is look at the finances. So, for the month of May, we made quite a bit in recycling benefit, which is a bit confusing, and I think that's because I sold off some animals, or did I do a bit of demolishing? I don't know, but construction cost, animal purchase cost, we can basically, you know, get rid of that, and then that factors in the extra money from the recycling benefit. So we're making a lot of money, needless to say. You know, we're making like $15,000 a month in profit, which is actually pretty ridiculous for a zoo with only 9 exhibits. And also this restaurant is making good profit, and we have no problematic guests at all. So, how are these tuna doing? They're fine. We've got 6 tuna. I thought for some reason that tuna actually bred like crazy, but maybe not. I don't know. They've only got suitability of 91. I think I can probably fix that by putting in some small rocks. Yeah, they want a couple of small rocks in their exhibit. That's fine. No problem. Still only 92 suitability though. Just get rid of the large rock and replace it with small rocks, and there you go, 96 suitability. That's fine. They're saying that they can't find any food. Right, we've got a sick mako shark. That's not good. Who's looking after the mako sharks then? The same guy that looks after the jellyfish, which is over there, so he's placing food, but I'd rather he heal the animal before he places the food down. So, can you hurry up please? Place the food as quickly as you can and then heal up the animal. Please. And then heal the animal. Thank you. That took long enough. Right. Yeah, there's not really much that's actually going on. It's just going to be sort of, you know, a lot of just sort of waiting around for the scenario to end, and we've still got 6 months left. So I think I'm going to save the game, and I'm actually going to end this video right here and just sort of say thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Leave a like, share, comment, subscribe. If anything does happen, then I will just record it, and then we'll have like a very, very short part. But that's literally if something drastic happens, like for example, you know, I decide to build another exhibit, which I honestly won't. Or like, you know, if the guest happiness suddenly starts tanking, or we get an escaped animal, or, you know, animal dies of old age. But, you know, I think even if an animal died of old age, that wouldn't really affect me, because I built those extra marine exhibits anyway. So I'm just going to sort of say, like, thank you so much for watching. Leave a like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. And it's a shame that I haven't actually managed to record this scenario to completion, but the fact is that I've basically won the scenario anyway, so I don't have anything to say, so I'm just going to end the video here. Take care folks, have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.